Hi guys, we got a 9 MWR with an EngCon tilt rotator ready for handover today to Cam at Digga Civil. So thank you very much, Cam. I'm just going to run you through your new machine, mate. So grading bucket is here. It's a big bucket, good volume. 1500 wire with bolt-on edge. EC209 tilt rotator with a detachable EngCon. I'll show you the controls in a sec for that. That's the top hitch installed, and you've got the EC oil block at the back here. Lifting eye is here. So you can use this lifting eye with or without the tilt rotator. Of course, without the tilt rotator, you can lift more because you're getting rid of all that weight. Coming up here, we've got the auxiliary A circuit. So auxiliary 1A and then auxiliary 1B. That's your 100 litres per minute circuit. You've got your low flow circuit, which is auxiliary 2, A and B. And then this is your case drain line for any attachments that need that. All a return straight to tank line, if that's what you need to use it for. Down onto the blade, so you've got your hitch there. You've got a plug with trailer lights. So if you're running a off-road trailer that's got lights on it, there's a plug there that you can connect straight into. You've got your oscillation lockout cylinders there. Mud guards, big flotation tyres around this side. So zoom out and have a look at the machine. Emergency stop, running lights, mirror and side camera. In here, this is the radiator, intercooler and hydraulic oil cooler. So there's 3 sections. You got to keep that clean. If that gets dusty and the machine's overheating, most likely you're just full of dust. Hydraulic fan, which is electronically controlled, so we spin it faster if we need it to cool faster. This is a control valve. Down here, this is your valve bank for the offset and for the hydraulic hitch. We've got coolant there. Bring this down. In here is just a toolbox. So you've got your operator's manuals, boxes, etc. So this is a connector to get to the computer at the bottom of the machine. Big space in there to put heaps of tools, so that's a great little feature. Around the back here, rear stabilizers. This is the fixed end of the machine, so it's got solid axle fixed. It's 4-wheel steering, of course, so both directions and crab. Engine bay, so lockable battery isolator. The battery is here, so easy to jump start if that's required. And then you've got your engine oil filter down there. Hydraulic pump is here. Air is there. And your fuel is just in here. Just in there, so quite easy to get to. On this side, diesel tank. And in here, we've got the pump that you can suck diesel out of a jerry can or a tank. Automatic stop on it. So into the cab. Oh, the rear view mirror, rear view camera is up there. Flashing light on the top is on a DIN pole. So if you smash it off, just any flashing light on a DIN pole just slips straight over the top onto that pole up there. So here, this mirror can slide open for when you're driving around. And up into the cab. So you've got this foot button for the steering wheel, so you push that down and you can then bring the steering wheel closer to you. If you like the steering wheel nice and close, I'll just turn this fan down. If you like the steering wheel nice and close, it's much easier to get in and out by just doing this. So I'm operating and I want to get out. The other option is if you want the angle of the steering wheel closer to you, you can use this tab here and bring it down. Just like that, so bring it nice and close between you if that's what you're after, or leave it set up far away if you prefer that. In here we have the controls, so this is your 4-wheel steering, 2-wheel steering and crab steering. Over here, this is the oscillation lock. So when you're digging and lifting, you want the lock on for sure, but if you're moving along the ground, you want the oscillation lock off. So this you've got unlocked all the time, locked all the time, and there's automatic mode. So the automatic mode has an override button on the joystick, so you just press this button and the oscillation lock will come on, press it again and it turns it off. You can see that happening here on the screen. On, off. When you have an automatic, when the park brake, which is this foot pedal, so park brake, accelerator, and then 3-piece boom if you choose to operate it manually, not required these days, but park brake on, and this is on automatic, oscillation lock is on automatically. So park brake off, oscillation lock off. So driving around, park up, do some digging, off you go again. Now, you cannot so that's the controls here. So hazards, and then horn, indicators, etc. So on this side we've got the selector switch between the second auxiliary circuit, which is auxiliary 2, the low flow, which I showed you on the boom earlier, and the offset boom. So you just select which one you want between the two, and it will show you on the screen. I'll just bring the screen up. It'll just show you a little dot there when the offset is selected, and then the dot goes away when the auxiliary is selected. To use the auxiliary, it's the roller underneath here for the auxiliary. The roller on top is what does our rotation on this side, so the tilt rotator rotation. These buttons are customizable, so we've got the wiper, horn, and you can select some other things on those buttons as well. So down into here, the quick hitch switch. So this is the top hitch, so this is to drop the tilt rotator off. Very important to know the difference. So top, bottom. So top quick hitch, that uses the existing Mechalac circuit to control that. This is an alarm cancel. So when you've got the top quick hitch disconnected, it's alarming because it's like, hey, I don't have something connected. You just hold this button down for 3 seconds and it stops the alarm. That's useful if you're using that lifting eye without an attachment. Here you've got the automatic boom buttons. So when the boom is in this control, this joystick will do the main boom, this joystick will do the dipper stick, and then this foot pedal will do the middle cylinder. So that's what most people are used to on, say, a wheeled Hitachi, etc., that has 3-piece boom. But we have an automatic mode that you switch it across, it couples. So the middle cylinder, which is that cylinder there, and the dipper stick cylinder are both together. So when you move this joystick, both of them operate. So it just feels like a long dipper stick excavator, but you've got the compactness and the reach of a long stick, but a short stick for the compactness. Now, there is an advantage, a little update that we've done. So when you're in that coupling mode, which is that switch down to the bottom, to the excavator boom, this joystick only does the rear cylinder. And as we just said, this joystick does the 2 coupling cylinders. On here, if you hold down this button, what's happening when we pull this joystick back is that the rear cylinder is locked out and won't do anything, and it will only activate the middle cylinder. Then while you've got this button down, this joystick will only do the dipper stick cylinder. That is super handy if you're trying to adjust the boom midway through a job, or you're lifting something with pallet forks straight up. So I'll show you this in action. So at the moment, when I lift up, it's only the rear cylinder working on this joystick. When I use this joystick, you can see both cylinders are extending together. And then as I come in, both cylinders, so the dipper stick cylinder and that middle cylinder are both contracting. So when I hold this button down on the joystick now, instead of the rear cylinder working, the middle cylinder works. So this is really handy if I want to adjust that middle cylinder manually without going out of automatic mode. So it's just a quick, mid-lift adjustment. You can hold that button down to do that. When you release the button, the controls go back to normal. So that's pretty handy. Then here we've got the hitch switch for the Engcon, and then this is the driving inversion switch. So if you're driving over the blade all the time, it will make the steering feel correct, and the FNR switch on the right joystick feel correct. If you're doing it over the stabilizers all the time, then you can just hit this switch and it inverses the controls. So when you salute the 180 degrees around, everything feels quite normal. This is the bucket inversion. So if you're using the skid bucket, which you can't use on the tilt rotator, of course, it can only be on the top hitch because it's far too big for the tilt rotator. But if you're using the skid bucket, you can inverse it, because in a track loader or a loader, coming in makes the bucket go up, but on an excavator, coming in makes the bucket go this way. So we just have a switch to inverse that direction. Onto the Engcon hitch. So to activate the lower hitch, which is that bottom of the tilt rotator switch, you press that button and come down. And then underneath here, this is the safety feature. Underneath here, there's this small little button. You need to hold that button in with your finger. And then while you're holding that button in with your finger, you use this slide switch here, which is the tilt slide switch, which will then activate the hitch down the bottom. This switch will time out after, say, 30 seconds if you haven't done it. And the beeping will be a different beep. You'll get used to this, but you have 30 seconds or so to actually use it. Then you have to put it back and then put it back to unlock again to go again. So that switch, the button under here, and then this to go open and shut. So that's this side of the console. This is a pneumatic, and it's a heated seat. So we've got a switch just here, that turns the heating on. We won't want to know about that for a few months over here at the moment in the heat wave, but you will surely use that in winter. Underneath here, you've got the controls for the air. So this is an air suspension cushion seat. You can adjust the seat here and up here to move the controls with or without the seat. Onto this side. So this is our F and R switch. If you leave it in forwards or reverse when you turn the machine off, you won't be able to start. It'll say, nah, put me in neutral, I'm not letting you start the engine. So that's the common thing that catches people. That needs to be in neutral, then you can start the machine. Really simple. If you finish it, it doesn't say anything, but you know, we got to start again. No thanks, not starting until you put me in neutral. It's a safety feature for sure. Then the buttons on here. So this is that boom switch that we talked about. You can see the green dot. Over here is our oscillation lock, as we talked about. And then this button here is our 2-speed box. So you can have an automatic mode where it shifts by itself automatically. I prefer the manual mode where you can control what speed you're in. So for the manual mode to work properly, it's best to have the speed in slow, so in low gear, set to 10. If you set it any higher, it can still jump between first or second to sort of get to that speed. If you set it to 10, which is a really good work site speed anyway, that will force the box to 100% be in low speed, which is high torque. And if you want to go fast, you just press your button to max and it will force it to go into second speed. So then you're in control of what gear you're in by just pressing this button on the joystick. It's the best way of doing it. If you play with those, which is quite easy to do in this mode, press down on the button and then you can roll those speeds like this, but don't. Leave it at 10. We've done a lot of testing on that, trying to stop it from automatic shifting, and now this is definitely the best setup. So that's this joystick. You've got your tilt, and then underneath here you've got your grab, and then we've got a spare roller here, which is going to be the joystick steering. When we get that kit and we install it on this machine's first service, you actually just use this roller, which is going to control the wheels, so you don't need the steering wheel. That's only in low speed. If you go to high speed, it disables this feature because it's not safe if you accidentally knock this at full speed. You know, you're doing 35 kilometers an hour. Here we've got the blade and stabilizers control. So it's one lever and you select which functions you want operating. So you can have all of them operating at once, or you can control just one of them. So you turn them on and off by pressing their individual buttons, and then you just move the joystick to control the speed at which that is moving. Here we've got the aircon control. Here's your radio. That's Bluetooth to your phone. There's the little microphone for the radio. On here we've got our control wheel, so this is how we go into the menu. So for example, we press that menu button to come into here. If we want to look at error codes, we come here, push down on the knob, push down on the knob again, and that page will show us any codes that we've got. And then the other things in here, we can come into the settings. So you come across into the joystick, for example, you can change the buttons and what they do. And then if you come to this, that's a 4-in-1 bucket, opening and shutting. This is your flow, so you can control up to 6 attachments. I've done another video on this already showing that, so I'll send you a link for how to set all that up properly. But with the EngCon, we've set it up already for you. So that's that panel. Along the side here, you've got auto idle, wipers, work lights, beacon, continuous flow switch, which is what that hammer symbol is. So don't press that unless you would need continuous flow at the auxiliary circuit. It's got a cruise control, so as you're cruising along, you can press this button and it will hold it at that speed. And then it's got a turn the travel alarm button off. This is the UHF here, so quite easy to get to. We couldn't put it down here like we discussed because we've already had the microphone here, and it's a little bit fiddly as well grabbing from there. So here, it's quite quick. We're just here, bang, got it, put it back. Cigarette lighter point, this is the diagnostic port. This is the EngCon cabin module. So on here, it will come up with fault codes if we're having fault codes. So if you're having fault codes, ring us and let us know what's on here so we can work out what the problem is. On here, we've got the sticker set up showing you what each button does already. We have a quick information page. This shows you what filters you need for what service, what their part number is, what oils you need, what volume you need, and then common parts. So alternator belt, aircon belt, battery, the size of the tires, and then stuff that we really need you doing on the servicing. So if you're going to get it serviced elsewhere, this stuff has to get done. So that's just to help if you're in a pickle. Behind the seat, we've got your fire extinguisher. Here's your risk assessment. And then across this side, not too much there. Speakers for the radio up there. Windows are tinted all the way around except for the front, and the roof is not possible either because it's hardened glass and it's on the outside of the cab. This is your roof shade anyway, so that creates a barrier to the sun there. All right, so I'll jump out of the cab and walk you around the machine again, but that is it. So the skid bucket, as discussed, cannot run it on the tilt rotator. Ripper, the 450 bucket, which has got side cutters added to take it out to 500 to suit the plate compactor, and then the pallet forks. All right, mate, thank you very much.